Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Considering how much time we spend in a bathroom and how important a bathroom is in our lives, we don't really talk about them a lot.
We especially don't like to talk about toilets like the one I'm on right now, the Horow X70, which is an unbelievably good, I like to call it a robot toilet, but it's basically the evolution of a toilet that I'm really surprised not everyone has in their house.
This toilet has a ton of features in it, from heated seat to automatic seat lid to washing your pretty much your everything with hot temperatures and hot air, and it's a great toilet, and I'm going to tell you every one of the features of this toilet. Now, this is a sponsored video, but I only do sponsored videos for products I try first, that I like, and that I would buy with my own money, and I would definitely buy this with my own money. Oh, gotta change the seat temperature. It's getting a little warm. Come with me a while and get ready to go sit in my office for the day and tell you about this unbelievable toilet. But first, that's pretty cool, right? And look, it opens back up again. Personally, I don't understand how everybody doesn't own a bidet. The first time I saw one was in France. It's one of those bidets that sits next to the toilet, and I had absolutely no idea what it was. Then the next time I saw a bidet, I was in Japan. I just landed at the airport and I went to the bathroom and there was one of the automated toilets. As soon as I got home, I ordered one of those bidet toilet seat lids. They're not really expensive. You see them on online ads. It's pretty much just a toilet seat that sprays at you. It's not anything like this. All right, now I'm ready to start the day. Let's head up to my studio. Well, if it wasn't clear by now, I am in love with this thing. With the Horow X70 Smart Toilet, I've gotten to the point where even if it's not the closest toilet in my house, it's not the number 2, it's the number 1. This thing really bowls me over. It sounds weird when I say let me go over all of the features because it probably doesn't seem like a toilet can have a lot of features, but this one has so many it's hard to handle them all. It's got a heated seat, so sitting down in a cold bathroom at 2 a.m. is no longer a problem. There's a pump built into the tank so that the flush pressure doesn't depend on whatever your house water pressure is. It washes and it dries you, so toilet paper becomes, well, alright, not optional instead of required, but you definitely don't need as much. The lid opens when you walk up to it, and then it closes in order to flush, and that is very important, and I will tell you why in a minute. There's a sensor on the thing that reads the room temperature, and it sets the seat warmth, the water temperature, and the dryer heat automatically. But you can also override all those settings. And it can lay down a layer of foam before you use it, so nothing sticks, which means a lot less cleaning. And anyone who's cleaned a toilet knows it's a crappy job. Now let me give you more details. The X70 has a built-in tank and a 100-watt pump so that the flush doesn't depend on whatever your house water pressure happens to be for that day. A lot of older homes, like my Victorian home, have really weak water pressure on the second or third floor. Flushes are traditionally pretty weak, and an incomplete flush is basically no flush at all. This one has its own pump pushing the water, so it's the right pressure to get rid of, everything. And thanks to the pump, it's quiet. Like a lot of these kind of toilets, the seat is heated, the water is heated, there's a tank holding warm water ready to go, and there's a warm air dryer that moves to dry off your parts. Strangely, my very favorite thing about this toilet is that the lid opens and closes automatically. No more touching the underside of a toilet lid in order to use it. Touching the underside of the lid is incredibly gross. There's a sensor on the front of the toilet that detects somebody approaching it and it opens up the lid. If you want to open up the seat, you just tap the button with your foot. There's another sensor in the seat that knows when you're seated and knows when you've finished your business. After you get up, the lid closes automatically and it flushes for you. This auto flush after closing the lid is not something that I knew that it did, and now it's something that I really don't want to live without. Because, and this might be a little bit gross, when a toilet flushes with the lid up, it throws a fine mist of everything from the toilet bowl into the air around it. You can't see it, but it's there. Since the X70 closes the lid first, before it flushes, the lid is down for the part where it sprays, which means no gross stuff all over your bathroom. There's a posterior wash for the back side of your body, and there's something they call the feminine wash for the front side of your body. There's also a pulse setting that pulses the water instead of running it steadily, and there's a hot and cold massage mode where you can switch between warm and cool water mid-spray. On the remote, you can set the water temperature, the force of the water, and the direction of the water. You can also change the dryer's temperature and where the dryer points. There's a manual flush button, and if you are on the toilet, when you press it, it does not obviously close the lid, but when you get up and it flushes with the lid closed, you could push it again and it will flush some more if you think that you need that. And since there's a sensor in the seat, if you get up when you forget to turn off, say, the posterior wash, it will just turn it off automatically so you don't end up spraying the room with water, which I have done on other bidet toilet seats. There's also a pulse wash setting, which is really good if you need a little, extra cleaning down there. And then there's a child wash setting, which makes everything just overall gentler. Not only is this good for children, it's really good for seniors and anybody with sensitive skin.
Horrow's put a lot of thought into who might be using the X70.
And you can tell that because the toilet has a super wide seat and is the right height to meet the requirements of the American with Disabilities Act. Another thing for senior users is that you can set it to warn you after you've been on the toilet too long, which is good if you've lost some of the sensitivity to know if you're sitting on a hot toilet seat for too long. Before you use the toilet, it can lay down a layer of foam in the bowl, which cuts down on splash and stuff sticking to it. Think of it like the spray that you use to scrub a toilet, only before you use the toilet, so you don't have to scrub it later, it just automatically puts it in the bowl. The one downside for me about this toilet is that the foam cleaner is sold separately. It is not in the box. It's about $50 for 2 bottles on their site, although I've seen it for less in online stores. They say each bottle does roughly 1,000 flushes. I've been using this for months. I haven't gone through that yet. The X70 has 4 different kinds of sterilization and cleaning. It has a UV light on the water path. It uses electrolyzed water to kill germs. It's got a triple filtration system for the water and a self-cleaning nozzle. A cool thing about the nozzle is the one that does the washing rinses itself before and after it's used for cleaning. So like a lot of these toilets, the remote control is really the most important part for the end user. Almost all the key things that you need are on the back of the remote, but inside the manual are some handy little things. They're sort of like doing cheat codes on a remote control. And if something happens to your remote control for any reason, there are buttons on the side for all of the basic features. If the power goes out, you can simply slide the top off of the tank and you pull up on this one little switch and it flushes the tank for you. There's some other really cool features about this. There's an eco mode that holds the seat at a lower temperature, so you don't have to keep the seat at like 100 degrees at all times, so it's at 100 degrees when you sit down on it. And all of the key settings you can tell from just looking at the top of the LCD screen. It shows you the temperature, it shows you what the lid's doing, it shows you if it's doing a UV clean, it shows you if the foam cleaning is on, stuff like that. Just simply glance at the top of your toilet and you know what settings are on. Any maintenance that you have to do is on the top of the tank, which is nice. There's no climbing behind it. You simply slide the top panel off and you can get to access things like the water filter and the foam cleaner refills. Here's the part where I was talking about having to measure very carefully. The X70 is designed for a 12-inch what's called a rough-in. The rough-in is simply the distance from the wall behind the toilet to the center of the drain pipe in the floor. 12 inches is the most common rough-in in American homes, so for most people, that's fine. Kinda. The thing that you have to be careful about is the back of this toilet sits very flush to the wall. It's a very clean look, and that's part of why this toilet looks so nicely in a lot of. But there's a couple of things that even with a 12-inch rough-in can block this toilet. The main thing is the water inlet, the pipe that brings water into the toilet. Depending on the location of the water inlet, it can block whether or not the toilet can fit. So if you're doing this in a new house, just check with the plumber before you purchase it. And if you're living in a house that already has a toilet in place, measure a whole bunch of times. If you have any questions, take a picture of the measurements, send it to them, and they can tell you exactly what you need to do to get this in there. The other thing I'd said I'd get back to is the power. If you have an outlet that's not too far away, you can run an extension cord to it, but you really need to make sure that either the outlet or the cord is what they call GFCI or GFI. All new homes have building codes that require these in bathrooms, but older homes do not. You can buy an extension cord that has a GFCI shutoff on it, which is really important if you're plugging into an outlet that does not. But if you're upgrading your bathroom, don't just measure twice and cut once, measure like 5 times and email the company. If you like reviews that are honest even with sponsored content, do me a favor and click the like and subscribe buttons below. Before I give you my final thoughts, let me know in the comments if you have a standard toilet or have a bidet toilet. This is the most futuristic toilet I've not only ever owned, that I have ever seen. It makes me feel like I'm in the Jetsons. It's kind of spoiled me for toilets maybe forever. Going back to my old bidet seat from this Horow X70 makes me feel like I'm going
Links
from
to
the
the Horow
smartphone
X70 and the
back to
Horow
flip phone.
website are in the description below.
And again, if you've got a smart toilet already, or you're trying to decide between this and one of the bidet tops, drop me a comment below and I try to answer every single one of them. For Dave Tries This, I'm David Schloss, and as always, thanks so much for giving this a try.